A couple of weeks ago, I made this video about restarting my Blu-ray collection, and it caused quite a stir, raised some questions, including one about me being a traitor to physical media. So I thought I'd make another video to clarify what I'm doing with this whole process. So stick around to hear all of that. Hello, as always, my name is Elliot, and this channel is all about collecting Blu-rays. So yes, I made that video a few weeks ago now about restarting my collection, and it's already underway. You can probably see the shelves are a bit messy behind me. There's Blu-rays all over the floor as well, and I'm just deciding what to add to my new collection and what I'm perhaps going to get rid of. If you haven't seen that video yet, it might make more sense to watch that one first, so I will link it in the description down below, and then you can come back to this video to hear my extra thoughts on the whole thing. Before I get into talking about whether I am a traitor to physical media or not, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has watched my videos recently, and thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. It really means a lot to me that you're here watching my videos. And I need to give a good few shout outs to some of my friends on YouTube who have also made videos on their channels about this topic of trimming one's collection and re-evaluating one's collecting habits. These are all channels that, if you like my channel, odds are you're going to like these guys' channels too, so please do go and check them out. The first channel that I want to recommend is from my very good friend Sam. His channel is Film Blogger Sam. His channel is very much like mine. He likes to collect boutique Blu-rays and 4K Blu-rays, and that's what he makes videos about. So he's made videos on Arrow Video, Vinegar Syndrome, he's done 4K reviews, etc. And recently he has joined me in this challenge of picking 3 films to add to his new collection. This is the collection to keep forever. These are the films that you really love. He has already made some videos about this challenge, so do go over to his channel, show him some love, and tell him that Elliot sent you. I also have to give a big shout out to Craig at Creep It Real Dude. Now, if you've not seen Craig's channel before, he is an expert in horror movies and slasher movies, and he has such a fantastic Blu-ray collection. What I like so much about Craig's collection is that it's quite a small collection, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all. His collection is very focused, and I admire that so much. You can see in his videos where he's going through his entire collection how much he really connects to the movies that he owns and how they're all so memorable to him, and everything in his collection has its place. He has recently been doing videos as well, trimming his collection and getting rid of some things that aren't to be kept forever. So again, go over to Creep It Real Dude and show him some love. And lastly, I'll just give a shout out to Nathan Jones, who is a friend of the channel. He has been in my videos before. I love talking to Nathan, and he has such a great collection. And he has recently also been re-evaluating his collecting habits and getting rid of some Blu-rays, and he's been making some videos on that very subject. So go over to Nathan Jones, the link's going to be down below, and show him some love as well. Okay, so one of the big questions that I got on my previous video was, will I still be buying new Blu-rays? Now, I've talked many a time about how my film discovering process has primarily been through buying Blu-rays of movies I'd never seen before. So these boutique Blu-ray labels, such as Criterion or Arrow Video, were my main way of discovering new movies. So if I'm cutting down my collection, does that mean I'm not buying any new movies, and therefore will I not really be discovering any new movies? Well, basically, I'm still going to be buying a heck of a lot of Blu-rays, probably more than the average collector. But the thing that's going to change is whether I decide to keep them or not. A new rule for me is that I'm going to try and watch what I buy as soon as I've bought it. So there'll be no more buying the movie and putting it on the shelf for 5 years and then finally discovering that I don't actually like the movie that much. After watching the movie for the first time, I'm then going to make a tough decision about whether I would ever want to watch the movie again. if I do decide that I want to watch it again at some point in the future, I'll keep it around for a bit. I'll keep it around for half a year, maybe a year, and then I'll reevaluate my position with the movie. But if it's a movie that I think I will never watch again within the next year or two, then I'm just going to get rid of it straight away and it can go to a better home. You have to remember that me cutting down my collection is not me abandoning physical media, because this is not about me getting rid of Blu-rays and then watching movies on digital. That's not what this is about at all. This is purely about physical media only, and just cutting down my collection and really focusing on what I love. So in that respect, I don't think I'm a traitor to physical media at all, because physical media is still going to be my thing. It's still going to be the main focus of this channel, of course. And I'm cutting down my collection from about 1,800 movies to what I imagine will be about 600 movies when all is said and done. 600 Blu-rays is more than a lot of people own anyway, so I'm by no means abandoning physical media or being a traitor. Now, there are of course some folks who disagree with my decision wholeheartedly. They think I'm making a terrible mistake and that I'm going to regret it in years to come. Now, what I would say to you, if you're of that opinion, is that I am doing this for me and my current situation. Everyone is at different stages in life and has different experiences and surroundings, and this is going to affect the decisions that we make. For me, this decision I have not made lightly, and I have been thinking about this for a very long time, and I truly believe that it is going to make me happier. It's going to increase my mental well-being. Those are excellent reasons to do this, I think. Now, obviously, it might be different to you. If you did this, the same thing that I'm doing, it might make you terribly unhappy. So of course I would say do not do that. If you still want to collect tons and tons of Blu-rays and it makes you happy, then please do that. Now, I'm going to actually call out another YouTuber in this Blu-ray collecting community, and that YouTuber is Sjs Films, who is actually a great friend of the channel, by the way, so this is not in a negative way particularly, but he made a video about this whole thing that me, Sam, Nathan, etc. have been going through, and he basically disagrees with all of it. He thinks it's a terrible mistake, and basically, he says nothing positive about the whole thing that we're doing. I will link Sjs Films video down below so that you can go and watch the whole thing and see if you agree with him or with me, because while we may not see eye to eye, it's just opinions at the end of the day. And like I was saying, different people in different situations are going to think different things. The first thing that he picked up on, which he disagreed with, was that in my video I referred to a lot of these Blu-rays as clutter, and he took particular offence to the use of this word clutter, which I was only using because I think it illustrates how I look at a lot of these Blu-rays. He says that using the word clutter to describe pieces of artwork is insulting to the artwork itself and to the artist. Now, there's been a miscommunication here, because I don't mean to say that the films themselves are clutter in any way. I'm talking about the actual physical thing that's on the shelf there. It's clutter because if I've picked up the film and I've watched it once 6 years ago, if I've not used that thing in 6 years and I don't plan to watch it anytime soon, then it is literally just gathering dust on the shelf and is providing me no value at all, and is in fact maybe giving me some stress of being on the shelf, calling out to me, asking when am I going to watch you again? When? And I'd like to think that if you had an object in your house that was doing nothing for years and years, that you would consider getting rid of it, because it is literally just taking up space, doing nothing, and you could turn that into money and peace of mind. So that's Cluttergate out of the way. The next point that Sjs Films brought up was about supporting these Blu-ray labels, so supporting the Criterion collection and Arrow Video and Indicator, etc. If you've watched a lot of my videos in the past, you know I'm a big supporter of these labels, and all of those labels that I just listed, for the longest time I have wanted to own every single release that they have ever put out. So I have wanted to own the complete Criterion collection. I've wanted to own every spine number from Indicator, and that's because I have loved what these labels have done, and they have introduced so many great films to me. However, this admiration for these labels may have gone a bit too far on my part, because in wanting to own their complete collections, it's been sort of crippling, because when you want to complete an entire collection, that makes sense if there's a finite thing. So if you know there are 50 things to go and collect, and when you've collected 50, you have the complete collection. There will never be any more. However, with these Blu-ray labels like Criterion, they release 4, 5, 6 releases every month. And then if you're collecting 5 or 6 or 7 different labels, that's a lot of pressure, because that is hundreds of pounds on Blu-rays every month that I would have to commit in order to complete these collections. That is more than my mortgage, more than my utility bills put together. So that's kind of crazy that I would be crippling myself in wanting to collect everything. Yes, it's true that without these boutique Blu-ray labels, many of these movies, these gems of world cinema, would never be discovered by myself and many other people. And yes, I still want to support these Blu-ray labels as much as I can, and if anyone is watching from these Blu-ray labels, I would love to feature your stuff on the channel to get it out to more people. But I can't do this at the expense of my whole bank account every month and just my general well-being. So I'm no longer collecting everything under the sun. So I think that about does it. Maybe people will still think I'm a physical media traitor after this. I don't know, but thank you very much for watching the video. Anyway, do let me know your thoughts down below. And if you haven't happened to subscribe to the channel, please do subscribe and leave a like, because it really helps with all the YouTube algorithm stuff. Thank you very much to my Patreon supporters as well, who really help me keep this channel going. And there's going to be some really big stuff coming to Patreon very soon. I've been working on a lot of videos, so I'm very excited for that. So if you want to check out my Patreon page, do go over to patreon.com/boutique Blu-rays. If you want to stick around on the channel, please do watch one of these videos on screen right now, because I'm sure you can get some good recommendations from me. I will be back very soon, but until then, stay well and keep watching great films.